Hey everybody, thanks for watching again. Hopefully you can hear me for all the rain that we're getting in the middle of our Tasmanian summer. But anyway, today I've got my rear hubs and I'm hoping to change the bearings. I haven't done this before, but I thought it would be a good idea. I think it's just a matter of pressing this section out off the bearing and then pushing the new one back in, but let's see how we go. I'll get on the press. Alright, so this is set up pretty easy. I've just used the C-section bits that came with the press, and this is the steam pipe I used on the pinion and the diff. That's perfect size for that. A couple of spacers. Easy. That's what I want to see. Of course I've started celebrating a bit early. That piece on there is one of the bearing races. You can see it came straight out of the bearing, and of course there's no easy way to get underneath it to pull it out, so I'm going to have to split it or find some way of holding onto it while I press it out. Before I tackle the bearing race that's stuck on the other hub, I might as well pull this one out and see if I have any more luck. I'm doubting it, but we'll see. And nope, we've got exactly the same problem. So what I'm going to try doing is welding that piece of scrap steel onto the bearing race, pretty solid around there, then heat up the rest of the race in the TIG, put this plate in the vise and then hopefully smack that through with a hammer. So I've migrated to the vise, I've got it clamped pretty well. I'm going to heat up the rest of the race, just with the TIG, just heat it up with no filler, and then I'm going to pound on this and see if it goes through. Unfortunately that didn't work for me. I have to grind through and try and split it and hope it falls off. I finished grinding through the bearing race. You can see a tiny split. I'm aiming to do is break the integrity of the entire ring. Yep, we're free. That means it's going to come off. And we're free. So it's removed now. It's a bit of a close-up of the damage I did to the shaft with the grinder. It's really minimal. It's not going to cause any trouble at all. It's barely touched any of the surface area. And it's fine just to press new bearings on. Here's the second side ground through. You can see it's broken all the way along. Now if you're going to try this, a couple of tips I figured out along the way. First one is use your big normal regular grinding stone to take the bulk of the material away. Then when you're starting to break through, I found it a lot easier to go to an actual cutting wheel and work at it, because it doesn't seem to be quite as aggressive and it's a little bit finer in the grit, especially getting up into the corner and on the shoulder up here. I'll hit it with a centre punch and see if it moves. Yep, that's spinning. That's really good. I'll probably just... Oh, look at that. I don't have to do anything. Free as a bird. Okay, so now I'm going to probably clean the rust off these and give them a bit of a paint before I press the bearings on. So I knocked most of the loose rust off. I cleaned up the splines with a needle file, masked up. Now that these have had a coat of paint, just going to apply some grease to the shaft and then press the bearings into place, making sure they're the right way around, of course. Okay, so I'm setting this up. I'm going to press on these spots here and not on the studs, because I don't want the studs to pop out when I press the bearing into place. Then I put the bearing onto the shaft. I'm going to use the old bearing that I split off the previous shaft because it's the right size, and I only want to press on here. If I push out here, I'll damage the bearing. And done. That's the second bearing in place. there we have it, 2 freshly installed rear wheel bearings. Now they're only like 50 or 60 bucks off eBay, and it wasn't really that hard to change apart from grinding that inner race off with the grinder. That took about half an hour, but yeah, totally worth doing. You can see where the other bearings have been hot, so yeah, it's another job out of the way. If you like this, then please subscribe, press the like button, and keep making videos. Cheers.